Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're looking into, well, an unconfirmed report, but it's potentially seismic. I mean, this could shake things up right across Africa, from Cairo all the way down to Cape Town.
Yeah, really good.
We're talking about this alleged declaration, apparently by the African Union Army. So our mission here in this deep dive is to really unpack what this report is claiming, who's supposedly involved, why might it be happening, and of course the massive implications for the continent.
And it's fascinating stuff, even if, as you say, unverified.
Exactly. And all this comes from excerpts we've seen from the YouTube channel Supreme Africa Breaking News, SBN, specifically their video titled Breaking, African Union Army Allegedly Declares Traoré President of One Africa Starting Now.
Right.
Okay, so let's try and unpack this central claim. It's pretty wild, actually. The report suggests the AU Army, working through some kind of secret Continental Security Council session, has allegedly declared Captain Ibrahim Traoré as the Provisional President. Not of Burkina Faso, but of a One Africa government.
That's the core allegation, yeah. And according to SBN sources, this supposedly went down on July 14th.
Just days ago.
Exactly. At what they called a classified emergency session at the GMA Protocol Summit. Now, what GMA means, or what this summit usually does, well, that's still pretty vague. Kind of adds to the whole secret vibe,
It does. Very cloak and dagger.
And the declaration was meant to take effect today right now, which would refer to July 15th, the day the report likely broke. SBN insists they've seen documents.
Exclusive documents, they claim.
Exclusive documents. And they name their sources. 3 independent insider sources, apparently. Chairman Shadow, Mama Panana Africa, and Protocol Black.
Chairman Shadow, Mama Panana Africa, Protocol Black. I mean, those names alone sound like something out of a spy thriller, don't they?
They really do.
But do we know anything about them? Like their backgrounds, potential biases, or are we just taking SBN's word that they're insiders?
Well, that's the thing. The source, SBN, doesn't really give us much background on these individuals. It's a key point, really, reinforcing the whole unconfirmed nature of this. We're basically asked to accept them as genuine, independent insider sources.
Right. Okay. And here's a bit that really jumped out at me. An unnamed military insider is quoted saying this: "This is not a coup. This is consolidation." What do you make of that distinction? Consolidation, what does that imply here that coup doesn't, especially with the military allegedly driving this?
That's a really crucial phrase. Coup usually implies, an illegal power grab, often violent, overthrowing the existing government.
Right. Negative connotation.
Exactly. But consolidation, that suggests something different. Maybe a restructuring, strengthening power, possibly even using existing rules or frameworks, however creatively. It frames it less like a rebellion and more like a necessary step towards some bigger vision, like it was planned.
So a strategic move, not just an opportunistic one.
Potentially, yeah. And digging into the alleged document they mention, it's titled AFR-1 Activation of Transitional Command under Continental Emergency Provisions.
AFR-1 Act. That sounds quite formal.
It does, doesn't it? It suggests maybe there was some kind of pre-existing plan or framework, perhaps a contingency, that's now being, activated. Even if we don't know the exact contents.
Okay, so if this AFR-1 Act is real and this is happening, what's Captain Traoré's supposed role in all of this?
According to the report, he's set to be the Continental Executive Commander.
So how long?
For a 24-month provisional term, so 2 years. And his job, his alleged mandate, is to coordinate the immediate formation of economic defense and technological integration structures. Basically start building the nuts and bolts of this unified Africa.
And he wouldn't be doing this alone.
No, the plan supposedly involves a joint task force, representatives from all 5 AU regions serving under him.
Okay, but why? Why such a drastic move, allegedly? What's the justification given?
The stated reason is, basically, that the whole Pan-African project has, it's stalled. That dream of a unified, independent Africa, politically, economically, it just hasn't moved fast enough for some people.
Impatience.
Impatience, maybe frustration, and a feeling that they need a central figure with integrity, discipline, and revolutionary alignment. Someone who can, and this is a quote, bridge the civilian-military gap and finalize Phase 4 before 2026.
Phase 4. What's that?
Good question. It's another intriguing detail, isn't it? It hints at some kind of predefined, multi-stage plan for integration, suggests this wasn't just thought up overnight, more of a long game.
And here's where it gets really interesting for me. The list of leaked, unconfirmed signatories. The people who allegedly voted for this.
Yeah, the report names names.
General Umoja, listed as being from AU Continental Security Command,
Right.
Field Marshal Daguerre, West African Joint Forces Commander, someone named Sibo from the Southern Defense Bloc, and General Ab North African Military Pact.
Quite a lineup, if true, covering West, South, and North Africa's security structures, supposedly. But, and this is conspicuous, right? No East African representatives on that list.
None at all.
None listed as signatories. The rumors mentioned in the SBN report suggest they actually walked out before the final vote.
Walked out. Wow. That's significant, isn't it, if you're trying to create one Africa, but an entire region apparently bails before the vote?
Absolutely. It potentially undermines the whole premise right from the start. How unified can it be if a major region is seemingly excluded or opts out immediately?
Which, yeah, brings us right back to that central question lots of people must be asking. Why Traoré? Of all the leaders on the continent, why Captain Ibrahim Traoré as the alleged figurehead for this?
It's a good question. And according to SBN's insiders, the reasons given are, well, there are a few layers. They describe him as young, bold, anti-imperialist.
Okay, characteristics.
Yeah, and crucially, his speeches have went viral beyond Burkina Faso. That suggests he has a reach, a resonance across the continent. People are listening, maybe tapping into that desire for a new kind of leadership, something challenging the old ways.
So popular appeal is part of it.
A big part, it seems. Plus, they say he already commands respect from many West African security units. So he has some existing base within the military structures, at least regionally.
And didn't one of the sources, Mama Pan Africa, have a specific take?
She did, a very striking one. She apparently said Traoré represents the spirit of Thomas Sankara with a Gen Z upgrade.
Sankara with a Gen Z upgrade. Wow.
Yeah. And she added, he refused French control. He centralized national pride. That's what one Africa needs now. Not bureaucracy, but bravery.
So the picture they're painting is someone who embodies both historical revolutionary spirit and modern tech-savvy appeal. Someone seen as decisive and independent.
Exactly. It seems this alleged shadow command isn't just looking at his military background, but actively leveraging his popular image, his narrative, to legitimize what would be a really unprecedented move. Makes you wonder what qualities they think are vital right now.
Bravery over bureaucracy, as she put it.
So, given these apparently compelling reasons for picking Traoré, the next big question has to be, how is everyone reacting? Or, maybe more accurately, not reacting.
Right. What's the official word?
Well, first, let's look at the African Union headquarters in Addis Ababa. Officially, silence. No statement.
Nothing.
Nothing official. But SBN includes this little detail. A technician there reportedly whispered that the media unit was told to stand down, no press release until order from Shadow Command.
Shadow Command again. Who are these guys?
They're described in the report as the AU Army's top-level clandestine structure operating beyond the control of civilian commissions, which, if true, strongly implies the AU's civilian leadership might have been bypassed here, at least initially.
Bypass. Okay.
Oh.
That's huge. And what about, globally? Any ripples felt there yet?
Oh, yes. Almost immediately, according to the report, France allegedly sent a high-alert message to its bases in Mali and Chad. Russia apparently posted a cryptic message online. New winds blow in the Sahel, hinting at geopolitical shifts.
Always subtle, Russia. Quite. China, through unofficial channels, WeChat accounts apparently, reportedly praised Traoré as a symbol of African renewal. Maybe seeing an opportunity there.
And the U.S.
The U.S. Embassy in Addis reportedly requested an emergency meeting with the AU civilian chair. So they're clearly concerned and want answers.
So, concern, calculation, maybe some quiet approval. A mixed bag internationally.
Very mixed. And then you contrast that with the scene on the ground in Ouagadougou, Traoré's home base.
What happened there?
Crowds reportedly gathered spontaneously, celebrating outside the parliament, chanting things like, "One Africa now, Traoré for all."
Wow. So immediate popular support in his capital.
It seems so, yeah, which just highlights how incredibly divisive and complex this whole alleged situation is right from the outset.
Okay, this is all moving incredibly fast. But it brings up a fundamental question. Is any of this, legal? Can they even do this?
The legality question.
Yeah.
Crucial. The report describes it as a gray area.
A gray area. That sounds flexible. Well, apparently, under something called the Revised African Unity Emergency Security Clause, the AU Army does technically have the right to enact regional defense unification during a continental crisis.
Okay, there's a clause, but...
and this is the massive caveat, that clause has reportedly never been used for governance. It was meant for defense, for stopping external threats.
Not for appointing a continental president.
Exactly. Chairman Shadow, one of those alleged sources, reportedly said the clause was written to stop external invasions, not to unify government, but they're applying it creatively.
Creatively, that's one word for it. So they're basically stretching a defense clause to cover a political restructuring.
Yeah.
What does that do to the future interpretation of AU law?
It's a radical reinterpretation, isn't it? If this stands, it suggests this shadow command is willing to really push the limits of existing frameworks to get what they want. It sets a whole new precedent.
Definitely.
And this leads to another critical element, this supposed 72-hour window.
What's that about?
According to the report, if no member state files an objection within 72 hours of the declaration,
Just 3 days?
then the resolution could de facto stand. Basically, it becomes reality through lack of immediate opposition.
Wow. So silence equals consent in this scenario. Imagine the pressure in capitals across the continent right now. Do nothing, and you might implicitly endorse this whole thing.
It's an incredible strategic gamble, isn't it? Banking on inaction, perhaps confusion, or maybe even quiet support.
It really is. But what strikes me here is the huge risk involved. This whole project, supposedly about one Africa, unity, it feels like it could actually achieve the exact opposite. It could create a massive Pan-African split.
That's the paradox and the danger. And there are already rumors, according to SBN, of resistance forming.
Oh, real?
Ethiopia, Kenya, and Rwanda are allegedly trying to form an AU legal integrity coalition to challenge this. South African legal scholars are reportedly calling for a full review of AU constitutional frameworks. Egypt is apparently furious they weren't consulted.
Okay, so potential legal challenges, diplomatic anger. This could get very messy very quickly.
Absolutely. If this civil and diplomatic pushback gains momentum, you could see exactly what you said. A deep division, turning a bid for unity into, well, a continental fracture.
And you have to connect this back to Traoré himself. Just 2 weeks ago, wasn't he giving some fiery speech?
He was in Dakar, and he reportedly said, "We cannot beg for unity. We must command it through example. If Africa will be free, we must act like we already are."
Command it through example. Act like we already are. Those are strong words.
Very strong. And that line alone apparently caused President Traoré, note the title, to trend on X, the platform formerly known as Twitter, across 12 African nations.
12 nations, wow.
It clearly struck a chord. So you have to ask, right? Did the AU army or this shadow command see that massive public reaction, that call for decisive action, and take it as their green light, their cue?
It certainly makes you wonder. A leader saying, act like we're free, and then this happens.
The timing is suggestive, to say the least. So where does this leave us? What happens next, assuming any of this leak is accurate?
Yeah, what are the possibilities in the coming days?
Well, the report suggests the next 10 days could be critical. We might see an AU army address via some kind of emergency broadcast, or maybe a flat-out rejection from the civilian leadership, from Chair Lorenzo, perhaps.
A counterstatement.
Exactly. Or maybe mobilization of those 5 continental agencies they mentioned, starting to draft a constitution, new continental media announcements, maybe even Afro-gold stabilization pledges from an AU central bank trying to shore up economic confidence.
Some moves to make it seem real and stable.
Or on the flip side, you could see warnings coming from the existing regional blocs. ECOWAS, SAC, others pushing back hard.
ECOWAS, SADC, the established regional powers. Their reaction would be huge.
Crucial. They represent existing structures of cooperation and security. Their stance could make or break this.
Or, as the source itself apparently notes.
Or it could all just collapse in infighting and legal chaos, which, let's be honest, is a very real possibility with something this audacious and contested.
It really is. And it's fascinating how, even in the face of potentially massive upheaval, people find humor. The report mentioned a TikTok meme.
Yeah, apparently there was a TikTok going viral. Africa be like, skip elections, go full Avengers.
Yeah. Captures the kind of superhero-level intervention this feels like, I guess.
It does. And there was another tweet someone shared. If Traoré is the president, can he cancel my landlord too? One Africa, one rent policy.
Okay, that's pretty good. Bringing continental unity down to everyday problems.
And then the one that probably hits home for a lot of people, capturing just how sudden and top-down this alleged move feels. Right. When you wake up and find out your president is now in Burkina Faso, but your parliament didn't even vote.
Yeah. That sense of bewilderment. Wait, what just happened?
Exactly. So, all right, let's try and sum this up. We've got this dramatic, still completely unconfirmed report coming from sources claiming insider knowledge via Supreme Africa breaking news.
Right.
And it details this alleged military-led attempt to basically unify Africa, or start the process, under a single provisional leader, Captain Ibrahim Traoré of Burkina Faso. It's a story that, well, if even parts of it are true, could fundamentally change the continent's trajectory.
Absolutely. And it leaves us, and you, the listener, with some really big questions to think about. Building on what the sources imply. Was this a bold, necessary move for unity, finally breaking the deadlock? Or is it just an undemocratic shortcut, bypassing the people and established processes?
A shortcut with potentially huge risks.
Huge risk. And maybe the deeper question, can Africa ever actually unite under a single strong leader? Is that even desirable? Or is it the only real sustainable path through gradual grassroots consensus building, even if it's slow? Those are definitely complex questions, ones with no easy answers. But understanding the potential implications of an alleged development like this, well, it seems pretty crucial for understanding Africa's potential future. We really encourage you to keep mulling over these ideas.